Hi, this is Joe Van Myers. It's April 25th, 2020. At the behest of several persons involved in whatever program I am the subject of, I have decided to compile a short statement making parts of my history a matter of public record so that there is no room for misinformation, blame switching, or prevarication about the nature of my character and some of the shocking and grievous harm which has already befallen me, due to the fact that I am continually presented with the threat of further injury and death on a regular basis. First, the most sweeping summation of my experience is that I have been subject to conditions meeting the definition of torture on and off for at least 15 years. That is, over the course of three different administrations. I was awoken just now to the sound of two males making reference to the probability of something occurring. There was some light banner in which one male claimed to have calculated something and the other snappily uttered the word statistics. I have been awakening to the sound of what I can only think of as skits nearly every time I've been able to get some time spent resting in an unconscious state for about the last year and a half continuously. The other night, I woke up after hearing a man stating that he knew all the big names in MK Ultra and that he had seen things that he didn't think any human being could survive. Ironically, that sounds like the feedback my family received from physicians at the medical center where I was attended to during my most recent of several near death experiences in 2016. And I'm sure the ones I survived in 2013 and 2010 involved the infliction of grievous bodily harm from which I did not and might not have been expected to recover. What I find to be most outrageous and mind numbingly short sighted and pointlessly destructive about this is that as a result of all the trauma I have experienced in the last 15 years, including two instances of head trauma, I have been experiencing pronounced, undeniable precognitions in full sight of independent observers since 2012. The phenomenon was so persistent that I decided to make a dedicated study and practice of honing the ability with experienced professionals starting in the beginning of 2019. Suffice it to say, I am aware of the fact that some of the top researchers in the study of precognition in the United States have some knowledge of my case, as well as others involved in various other areas of parapsychology. Upon completion of a course based on remote viewing protocols, in addition to sleep programming and thought insertion technology, I have been subject to the constant presence of voice to skull handlers whose overall prevailing interest seems to be in directing my relations around areas of intimacy and sexuality. At the time, I was receiving messages in this form indicating the possibility of working with a government agency, informing me that there was a deposit that I would get out at noon and urging me to sign on the line. By October of last year, however, these constantly present voice handlers included an unknown male referring to me as Pizza. Unfortunately, these voice handlers also seem to have decided to persist with the more intrusive and unwanted invasions of my private life for purposes of degradation, abuse, and apparently profit as well. I tried to make my willingness to cooperate known, which was not met with a response and did not alter the nature of the communications I was receiving. What I have encountered can only be described as a form of technological enslavement, and I was even made aware of the existence of an EStore, presumably on the dark web. I have heard voices making reference to putting money in this store and that my head was placed on a list. The intentions I had for completing training in remote viewing protocols, which I shared with a classmate at the time, were that I hoped to be able to put this ability to good use in the service of mankind, ideally for the prevention of ecological catastrophes and scientific disasters. I am thoroughly dismayed that instead the decision was made to steer my experience in a different direction altogether, for apparent reasons of sadistic enjoyment as well as financial gain, with a number of misdirections and baiting into destructive ends. I have been and continue to be drawn to the healing arts my entire life, and I had thought I'd finally found myself in the possession of an incredible gift with which I dreamed I could save lives and avert tragedies. There are individuals in the public eye who are renowned for the quality and vision of their work and ideas, who are familiar with my presence and struggles over some years. I hope and pray that common sense will win out over evil and that my pure intentions are not instead perverted into the creation of unnecessary tragedy.